Hello, I'm Meeka 6, and today we're going to discuss two biblical reasons why people become atheists. One of them is not necessarily biblical, but it is something that takes place. So, generally, to the naked eye, an atheist is defined as an individual who lacks belief in the existence of God or gods. However, the spiritual defining of an atheist is one who cannot see nor sense the true presence of God. There's no connection. Now, some individuals identify or believe themselves to be true atheists, but they're not. It's confusion mainly, or unsurety. And sometimes you'll hear someone say, I was an atheist and then I found God. Well, these individuals weren't true atheists because you don't come back from true atheism. And you'll understand what I mean later in this discussion. Now, when I state, quote unquote, become an atheist, I mean why people come to be atheists. The reasons behind coming to be one, the spiritual meaning behind coming to be one. So, the first reason an individual becomes an atheist, and this is one that is not necessarily biblical, but it is something that happens quite often, is because they've experienced a religious collapse. An example of this may be they were posed with serious questions about their faith and they couldn't find a suitable answer. And usually it's at this point where a number of religious individuals will branch into denial and delusion, when the mind is forced to choose between situations of reality versus their belief, which clashes with that reality. For a number of individuals, that fear is far too great, and they choose to deny reality. Some come off the hinges altogether and recklessly deny the whole entirety of religious systems. Another example would be a Christian who takes Jesus at his word to ask for whatever you will. This is what he promised, that if you ask whatever you will, he'll do it. Well, they ask for, let's say, the healing of a loved one, and that loved one dies, and they're crushed. Or they're asking for their healing, and they're not being healed. They're getting worse, and they're just devastated, and it results in them declaring that they no longer believe in that fairy tale God stuff because their God, Jesus, didn't do as he promised. Or I've heard a number of stories of Muslims who have come to certain realizations about their faith and decided to walk away and become atheists or Christians. And there are also Christians who either become Muslims or atheists, and there's also Jews who become either Christians or, Muslims or atheists. But these individuals are searching for truth, frustrated and desperate. I even heard of an account in which a Jewish woman recalled her experiences during the Holocaust. Upon witnessing a frightfully horrendous violent incident against a child, it was at that moment that she solidified in her heart that she no longer believed there was a God. And I've been asked, Meeka, if there's a God, why does he allow such evils in the world? Or I would hear, any God that would allow such suffering is not worth my worshiping. But I have to be quite frank with this. Who do you think you are? Did I miss something? The last time that I checked, he doesn't need you. He doesn't need anything from you. The Creator doesn't need your worship. He doesn't need your money, your quote-unquote money, because it's his. your time, which is his. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need your charitable acts. Nothing. His name means the self-existent, eternal one. He does not need you. And no, he didn't make you because he was lonely. He absolutely does not, I repeat, does not need your love. And he didn't make you to be happy. He's not human. In truth, what you think is your time, your worship, with the mind that he gave you, it's his time, his resources. Where along the line did you come to believe that your opinion even matters in the face of this all-powerful, all-knowing being? Do you know what it reveals when someone declares hatred against him? In the ancient scriptures, it states clearly that it reveals that he hates you too. Now tell me, who's going to do the most damage? You or him? All because, in your arrogance and pride, you refuse to honor and acknowledge his superiority and rule. He made this earth, not you. That's his life in your body. You're dependent on him. He does not need you for anything. To think otherwise is sheer human arrogance. And just so you know, human suffering is not in vain. You just don't understand why. I do. He's revealed to me and has given me a deep understanding and insight into the suffering of a great many people. And I admit, I weep concerning these things. Because people are under the misconception that God is quote-unquote all loving. In truth, they're referencing the God after their own hearts. But the God of Israel, Moses, Abraham, Noah, the Eternal One, he's not all loving. He is not human. He is not moved by emotions like humans. It's different. It's very different. If you don't believe me, walk into a children's hospital where the children are pronounced terminally ill, suffering. You're talking about a situation where emotions of compassion and empathy would have been moved in the heart of a human who possessed healing power. They would have completely made them whole. But here's this all-powerful being, and he did not and will not spare millions of lives of these children. Some of them he has, but altogether there is absolutely reasons behind the suffering and death. One of the main reasons is he is just. But because you don't understand it all, which you won't because you're human, that does not equate to his non-existence, nor does it justify your blasphemous words and actions against him. You will undoubtedly pay the price and be called to an account. It's wickedness. What do you know about running the universe? What do you know about hearing and bringing justice to billions? We're talking billions of people throughout time that he hears simultaneously. We as humans, you cannot fully grasp the concept of what it is to be in his position, and you dare try to judge him? Wow. If that isn't arrogance. Oh my. The second reason a person becomes blind to the presence of God, and this is a biblical reason, it's because they did something grievous against Him. You see, in the ancient scriptures, if someone committed an offense, it states that he hid his face from them, his presence. He does not commune with the wicked. Sometimes you can correct the offense if it was committed in ignorance. I've heard individuals declare, God told me this or God told me that, but He didn't. They're speaking of the quote-unquote God they worship. They're not talking about the eternal Almighty One, and stating, their God is quote-unquote all-loving. He's quote-unquote all-merciful. He's quote-unquote all-forgiving. This is not the God of Israel. How do I know? Well, to start, not only what they're saying does not align with the ancient scriptures concerning Him and His way, they don't even align with Him. You have men from various religions claiming, I love God, and then doing hideous acts, treachery, lying, stealing, exploiting and raping women and children, murdering, using filthy language, all while proclaiming to love God. You don't. You're a liar and a hypocrite. You have Christians, quote-unquote Christians, Christian sinners, declaring, oh, I had breakfast with God this morning, believing Him to be Jesus. He's not Jesus. He clearly declared, He is not a man, nor the Son of Man. And what did Jesus say repeatedly? I am the Son of Man. He referenced Himself as this more than any other term. But tell me, Jesus declared that it is the God of Israel who commanded Him to speak the words that He spoke. Why would Jesus be commanded by the God of Israel to describe Himself in this way, when He clearly said that He is not a man, nor is He the Son of Man? And yet you have Christians running around saying that Jesus is the God of Israel. The second way I know these things is because I've seen Him. I've communed with Him. I didn't behold His face due to the ancient scriptures, and out of respect for Him, I knew not to do this. So you see, I will never declare that He doesn't exist, because I've seen Him. And I wasn't always alone. There were others who were with me. You have atheists demanding proof of His existence, bargaining their soul and their time, saying things like, I'll serve or acknowledge Him when He proves His existence, not realizing that everything in the earth is His, including you. You cannot bargain your life. It's already His. Those who cannot sense His presence cannot connect with Him, because He does not connect with the wicked, those who willfully defy His order and His rule. A number of individuals are ignorant, in the true sense of the word, when it comes to spirits. And what I mean by that is, there is a lack of understanding regarding the world of spirits. If you are not able to discern which spirit is communicating with you, then you should hold back for a bit and educate yourself concerning this. Because there are numerous spirits that communicate to the living, bodied and disembodied. You have individuals who will say in the Christian faith, I'm saved, I have the Spirit of Jesus, coming from the club on Saturday, worshiping on Sunday morning, and committing sexual perversion Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Wednesday right before Bible study, and Friday getting high, declaring, I love Jesus, he set me free, Jesus told me don't worry about it, he understands. Wait, what's this marketing campaign going around? Jesus gets us? Listen, is it the spirit of Jesus getting high? Is it the spirit of Jesus committing fornication or adultery? Come now. There are other spirits that communicate and deceive the living. There are some very malicious spirits that are out to do some serious damage. Human spirits possess the body, not the Creator. He influences the mind. The Eternal One does not possess a fleshly human body. He is not in you. The only element that has been embedded throughout the human existence is his life-giving breath. Human spirits seek to possess the physical vessel of the human. It is a desire to relive the experience or to destroy in some way, measure, or form. The Creator, the Eternal One of his laws is do not commune with the dead. But in today's society, and I'm sure it was done in the past as well, but it's quite common and quote-unquote fun to contact the dead, to violate his rule and his laws stating not to commune with the dead. You have people who have made this a game to communicate with the dead, and then they are baffled when a curse hits their family or their generation because of violating the laws of the Creator. The third reason an individual cannot see or sense the true presence of God is because he cursed them. This is also a biblical reason, and they can't come back from this. This is the true atheist. Their mind is cursed. This is not determined by the measure of knowledge they've accumulated about his creation. It's their spirit. It's in a state of darkness, blinded from the reality of the existence of God. They're under the impression that it's a choice. And they go about quite arrogantly concerning this matter, but it's not a choice. It's a divine judgment. Just as a baby cannot see or perceive beyond the limitations of his crib, the vast world in which he now lives, a man equally has his limitations. We have yet to see and discover all that is beyond the heavens. And yet most atheists take great pride in their limited intelligence, to the point where they have the audacity to belittle the intellect of those who are aware of the presence of God. We're all humans, meaning we don't know everything. Just because you cannot see or hear or feel something, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. This is rudimentary. Can you imagine? At one point, microscopic organisms weren't even on the radar, but the damage was incomprehensible. The discovery of these microbes by Robert Hooke in the 1600s drastically changed the human perception and understanding of disease. The lack of knowledge prior to this concerning these microorganisms did not equate to its non-existence. You see, to use the mind and knowledge that the Creator gave you to demonstrate arrogance and disregard towards Him is sheer insanity. Those who are true atheists, cursed by the Creator. The ancient scriptures declare that it shall be ill with you. You shall have no peace, not necessarily in life, but in death. You've made an eternal enemy. Do you not understand the absolute catastrophe and terror of this? I'm the Moroccan Angel. Do what is right, always. It matters.